Welcome to the Blue Collar Baddies podcast. This is episode 19. This episode is not technically sponsored, but we'd like to give a huge shout out to Stitch Rebellion, a blue collar owned, family operated embroidery company that makes high quality products with a quick turnaround. If you need hats for your small business, make sure you go check them out. And today we're here with Ashley. And what trade are you in?
So I am in general construction, project management, mostly residential.
Nice. And how did you get started?
Done a lot of things, but I grew up rural.
Yeah,
I think is a big part of it. So like when it takes a long time to get to a store to get the specific part, or you get creative and you figure out how to do stuff, and so you learn a lot of stuff
for sure,
and so I've done renos and additions and fixed stuff for a really long time, and worked with a realtor for a little while, flipping while I was doing other things. The go button is real strong because of that, because I have like all of the spices of the brain. I work with serial entrepreneurs, I guess you could call them, who own several different businesses that are all kind of different, and I become kind of like a fixer. So it's like, hey, so I have this problem, go fix it. So more recently, my boss owned a construction company. He was building duplexes for a gentleman who owns a very large amount of rentals. And the guy that was supposed to be project managing the build of the duplexes wasn't. And it was bad. It was really bad. And so he was like, I need you to fix it right now. And initially we kind of thought it was going to be just like a logistics kind of thing, like just reorganizing everything. And then we got on site and I was like, okay, I'm going to throw my tools in the back of it. And so I was on site every day, and just kind of started from there, and then threw up a few more duplexes. And when that leg of the project, so like phase one was done, and the market did what it did, the owner of those rentals was like, please, for the love of God, don't leave me, because I have so many things that I really need you to work on. And so I went rogue. That's where the name of the company came from. I went rogue, and so now I do my own thing. And right now I'm working on rent readies, so like a tenant moves out and there's like all the things wrong, and a realtor will go in and like, we need new blinds, and I'm like, you need to fix the foundation. You're like, let's not worry about the blinds right now when the floor's rotting out. So things like that, but I prefer new build.
Nice. I work insulation, and I prefer new too. I do not like gutting the old stuff out.
No. There's for so many reasons. Mostly it's gross. For sure. And then you find everyone else's where you're like, how did you get this job? Where people are like, I fixed it, and they like prop a brick under it or something. And you're like, that's okay. Great.
So how long have you been doing this?
So I went rogue in November. And was doing the duplexes for about a year, but I've been doing stuff in the general realm. I don't know, like 20 years.
Dang. That's awesome.
Because I'm old.
Whatever.
No.
I mean, I'm 35. You can't be that much.
I turned 41 2 days ago.
Dang, happy birthday.
Thanks. Yep. I don't feel it.
You don't look
like
it.
My first, when people are like, how old are you? I'm like 36. Wait, no, that's not. I feel like I stopped. I kept having birthdays, but I feel feel like I stopped aging.
Yeah.
To some extent at like 36.
I told my parents after I turned 30, that's the only birthday that I'm going to have for the rest of my life. I'm just 30 from now on.
Yeah, and you're how old now?
35.
Give it another year or two and you'll be like, I'm 34 forever.
Okay.
Because that's, yeah. Yeah. And you look like you could be in your 20s. So, like,
thanks.
When people are like, you can't be, you're like, you're so right.
Yeah.
And you just, because I don't, mortality's a thing. And I don't want to be reminded how close I am to it. But to be honest with you, when somebody asked me, it was my 39th birthday, I think. Mm-hmm. And somebody was like, how old are you? And I was like, I have 36. And they were like, what year were you born? And I said it, and they were like, they did the math, and they were like, no, actually, you are. And I was like, that was rude.
Oh, yeah.
That was, you didn't need to do that.
That's funny.
Because I would have kept thinking that it was.
If somebody wanted to do what you're doing now, what advice would you give her to get started?
To like another woman?
Mm-hmm.
I would say be curious and don't be afraid of being curious. Mm-hmm. Like, ask the questions because you don't know until you ask. True. And, sometimes that just means asking someone that does that, mm-hmm. that whatever it is that you want to do, if you can tag along for a day, or hey, can I come help you out on a job, or can I whatever, and see if you like it, because some days are awesome, some days suck real bad, for sure. And it's can you handle the sucky days, right? And sometimes it's because of the people, and sometimes it's because of the work, and sometimes, a lot of times it's because of the weather. Yeah. And just see. Mm-hmm. And maybe what you thought didn't pan out the way you thought it would. Right. So keep an open mind. Yeah. And decide for yourself. Mm-hmm. Like don't let other people decide what you're capable of, or what you can do or can't do. Also, brush up on your physics. Yeah. Yeah, because, things are going to be taller than you. Yeah. And heavier than you. And leverage comes in all shapes and sizes. True. And if you can keep an open mind and figure out a way, pulley systems, man. I swear to God. Yeah. Brush up on your physics, ask questions, and be open-minded. Nice. I like that. So tell me about one of your biggest struggles, or like a bad day that you had that you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I won't say that I have had a day where I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah. I try to remember, like, there's something you can learn, for sure, from damn near anything. Yeah. I'm super anal when it comes to sheetrock finishing. Oh, yeah. Because I had somebody come in mud, and then I had to finish it, and you learn real quick how to mud right, because if you don't like sanding. Mm-hmm. For sure. So, like, I'm so anal when it comes, like, bad. Yeah. Because you don't have to. You're just making it harder on yourself. Yeah. Or whoever's, coming behind you. That was one of those days where I was like, I hate this place. Because it was so much sanding. Right. I would say probably might have been the second day I was on site with the duplexes here recently. Mm-hmm. I had 2 more going up across the street, and when I got out of the truck, they were talking about having a beer at Buffalo Wild Wings after work. Long story short, I needed them to run a hose from a different unit. And when I went over to ask them about it, they were like, no habla. And I was like, that's strange. Because I swore, this is what I heard when I got here. If by chance you become fluent overnight, I'm not a problem you want to have. And the next day it was a much different crew.
Nice.
That was there.
Yeah.
And not, I'm a firm believer that there should be a mom on every job site.
Yeah.
For little things like,
right.
I mean, the scheduling and how things operate, but also consistency. Yeah. You know, the rules are the rules for everybody. You don't get paid until your room's clean.
Right.
Which means until your job is done and inspections are passed and you've picked up all your shit.
Yeah.
I ain't paying you. And I'll remind you twice nicely.
Yeah.
If I have to say something a third time, I'm going to do it myself. And my hourly rate is higher, so that's coming off your invoice.
Right. It's good. I mean, you gotta, like, walk in and own the deal or it's not gonna get done.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I also expect you, if you're charging for a service, I expect you to give at least a single shit of the work that you're doing, right? That also means not leaving water bottles strewn about like it's glitter. Yeah. Or Capri Suns, for that matter. The roofing crew had a real big obsession with Capri Suns, and they are like little metallic flags. And so, like, every time the wind would go, it was like you would find... I was picking up Capri Suns for months. Gosh. I felt like laying down those rules and not making exceptions for things like that. Right. Changing up the way that things happen. So... rather than having the subcontractor buy all of the supplies or whatever and then upcharge. Right. Like, you tell me what you need and when you need it here. I will text you when it drops and we will schedule when you'll be... And changing things like that. So, I mean, there's a lot of people that are super grateful for it. Yeah. And then there's others that don't like... that they can't control those types of things. And I was told by a couple of them that they won't work with a woman. Wow. Which is fine. They're replaceable. You just made my day easier. Right. But the narrow-mindedness, I think, unspoken expectation is sometimes... frustrating. Yeah. Sometimes it works to your advantage. Right. Because you, like, kind of throw them off. You know? In the South, Ashley can be a guy's name. I've met several guys that are named Ashley, and so, you know, they hear Ashley's gonna, and they're like, okay. And then they're like, it's a chick. And I don't know what they expect. Right. It's never me. So there's, like, a lot of, they're like, oh. Okay. Yeah. It, like, takes a little while for their brain to recalibrate about it, I think. That's funny. Which sometimes, like I said, works to my advantage, but otherwise it weeds people out quick. True. Makes sense. Efficient. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So do you run into very many girls on the job site? No. Not at all? Before you had reached out and, like, I met... you know, some of the women here today, like, I was in a bind. Yeah. Because block was down and framers were wanting to come in, but they hadn't core filled yet, and they were in block guys are gone, and they can't get a hold of anybody, and they're like, I look over and they're putting green plate down, and I was like, stop. And you know, at that point, I'm like, I need to find a pump truck. Like, yesterday. Yeah. Because this is not good. And started making calls, and I ended up getting a hold of, her name's Sam, and her and her fiance they run the pump truck company. And I was like, so here's the deal. Yeah. I need help. And she was like, let me make a few calls. I'm going to rearrange the schedule, and I'll be there in an hour. And, like,
Badass.
Because there's not many women who... Yeah. You know, when you find one, you, like, hold on, right. You know, and she saved my... Like, she didn't even like heights, and she was... she was up there running that on her own, and I was like...
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's a badass. She's awesome. That's we have, for almost a year now, we're like, we need to do lunch.
Yeah.
You're on a Post-it on the dash in my truck to call for, like, 2 weeks now. It'll happen. But, yeah, sometimes we just check in on one another, but... Yeah. She's the only one that I've honestly come across that is actually out there. Right. You know. Yeah. With her hands in it.
Yeah. If you were to, which, I mean, this question might not be relevant because you pretty much explore everything you think about doing. You just jump on it and do it. But if there was if there was another trade that you were in, starting from the beginning, what do you think it would have been?
So, yeah, I mean, I have all the spices of the brain, right? So, like, the ADHD and like, I'm on the spectrum a little bit, and I'm polymath, and it's not that I think I can do everything, but we don't have the data to say that I can't. Yeah. So let's find out. Right. And, you know, I've done a lot of stuff, so it's kind of like, well, I could take, like, what I know about this and kind of mosaic that together, and I'm sure I can figure it out. Yeah. There was a trend on TikTok for a while that was like, how hard can it be? Boys do it.
I saw that.
My 9-year-old heard that, and she was like, oh, it's like that song. And the name of the artist escapes me right now, but there's a woman who sings a song, and in the song it's like, anything you can do, I can do bleeding. Oh. Which... You know, it did, but then all of a sudden my 9-year-old, like, put it together in the backseat, and she was like, I get it now! And I'm like, what are you talking about? But yeah, like, that's, I mean, it might be a little bit different the way I do it. Yeah. You know? Because a lot of times, because, you know, I'm not as big as I think I am. Yeah. But, I love big toys. I've asked for a universal cat key for Christmas every year for like 10 years now. And my grandfather was a crane operator. Okay. Tractors as a kid, you know, like big toys and diesel fume. For sure. You know, like it just, that's my happy place. I would absolutely do that. I've always wanted to learn how to weld. Yeah. Not necessarily for work, just because I want to build cool stuff. Right. And you know, like, who doesn't want a massive welded sculpture in their front, you know? For sure. I don't want one in their front yard, but I want to make one. Right. As far as like what would be the, I don't know, responsible thing? Like, my uncle was an electrician forever. Okay. I feel like that's one of those, you don't have to deal with other people's mess. Right. Yeah. Like, you know? I mean, electricians are usually the ones making the mess. Yeah. All right. Now, come on, Haley. No, there is something so, they're like unicorns. The electricians that like, where all of their wires are like pristine and like perfect angles and everything. I'm like so fascinated by them because it's like you look at their boards and they're like it's like a mandala. You know what I mean? Yeah, for sure. And then you see others and you're like, I bet your mom must be real proud. Plumbers, I don't want to be called on those emergency calls, you know? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but it's not. Again, it all goes back to physics. Yeah. It's not that hard. It's just not that fun. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And I think that's why I like doing what I'm doing now. Like, every day is something a little bit different. Yeah. You know? There's creativity in it all the time. For sure. That's cool. So, what is your favorite tool? My trusty Impact. Oh, yeah? Yeah, like, nice. I will say that, like, having had to go get almost all brand new tools. And just technology being what it is. And I don't have big hands. So, like, knowing that you're going to be using a tool for an extended period of time, and, like, what's your battery life look like? What's charge time look like? Also, how heavy is it? And ergonomically, you know, does it work? I initially was going to go and get all new, you know, 18, 20 volt DeWalt, because it's easy to get, it's easy to replace, it's the same across the board anywhere you go. And, you know, lifetime warranty, you just swap them out. And there's a Lowe's everywhere, you know. But there happened to be a sale running on the 12 volts, and I was like, meh. We'll see. I swear to God, my 12 volts outlast.
Really?
Like, the batteries on them, and my roofing crew, all of theirs died. And they asked to borrow mine, and, like, we're like, this is insane. That this, and I was like, I know, but it's lighter, it's more compact, it's
nice. It's cool.
I've been pleasantly surprised. I'm not gonna lie. Also, because they're smaller, you can fit all of your stuff. Like, you're not having to, like, Tetris all of your tools to fit because you may or may not need them.
Nice. That's good.
Yeah.
What about any embarrassing job site stories? Anything you want to share?
I don't know that it's embarrassing. I'm pretty much wide open all the time. Say what I mean what I say. What you see is what you get. Like,
nice.
FAFO, right? Like, so
it's good.
I'll be cordial about things for the most part, but I don't pull any punches either. Like, so there's been plenty of times I probably should have been embarrassed to be caught in the whatever position you know what I mean? Like,
just doesn't faze you.
It's every day's a little bit of it's not even organized chaos. It's just a ride, man.
I could agree with that.
You know, work, and then juggling life. You know, kids and dogs. All the things. Trying to have friends. Like, that's tough. And then doing stuff that, like, you like to do. You know, because nobody wants to work on somebody else's house all day and then come home and work on your own.
True.
But also, you don't not want to work on your own. And someone has to feed the children. Which means you have to go grocery shopping. Yeah. Thank God you can do delivery now. Because that's the only way I get that done.
Nice. What did you originally think you were going to be growing up? Did we already say that? Okay, good.
I didn't ever have one thing. I think from the time that I was really little, when people would be like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I always said I wanted to be a mom.
Oh, that's cool.
But then, like, my mid-20s, I had gone to several specialists and found out that I wasn't supposed to be able to have kids.
Oh, dang.
Fast forward. My youngest is, she'll be 10 the 1st of March. So, like, I'm still sticking with 9 because, like, and then my bonus daughter's 16.
Okay.
But as far as, like, a career, like, I always wanted to stay rural. But, like, actually having an income that provides for life, doing agriculture is tough.
Yeah, for sure.
And most farmers, at least one of them, you know, has another job. And so what does that look like? There's always been so many things that I've been interested in or that I've thought was cool or had the opportunity to do that I don't like limiting myself. So it's just kind of like, what do I want to do? I don't know. What is there?
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like, can I have a snack?
Right.
What is there?
Yeah.
You know? It's allowed me to do a lot of things.
That's cool. Do you have any, like, upcoming plans or goals within your business?
If I'm being real, it's most of the time it's just to get through the day or the week, because, you know, I went rogue not that long ago. So there's like a pretty good adjustment there.
Yeah.
I would say because I like doing new build much more. I'm looking forward to the market
coming back up.
Yeah, and starting on, you know, phase 2 and...
Makes sense.
You know.
Yeah.
But when it's, you know, a couple $1 million worth of projects, I can understand waiting till interest rates are a little bit better. This Band-Aids on bullet holes, fixing other people's not work, really. That's not my favorite.
Yeah.
You lose a lot of faith in you.
For sure, yeah. It's kind of sad what people can get away with just because the customer doesn't know any better.
Yeah, or because, you know, the customer's like, well, it's not mine, I guess.
Right.
They, you know, being that I'm working on, like, rentals right now, it's like, you know, the tenant has to be there when I go, and it's like the kiss of death. Almost. Like, I start to feel guilty because they're like the words no one wants to hear is like, while you're here, and you're like, you know, you're fixing something in the kitchen is the reason you're there, and they show you something, and it's like, well, one example is the channel on the bottom of the shower, like, sliding door was leaking, which clean it out and put a little caulk in there, and you're good.
Right.
Except for they didn't clean it out.
Oh.
So the caulk's just sitting on, like, a lot of dirt, which means it's still leaking. And then it leaked so much that the floor is not quite as sturdy.
Oh, no.
Which put extra pressure on the drain. And so the drain was leaking, so they came and replaced the drain. And what should have been, like, $75 call to throw some caulk in is like $10,000-$12,000 job now.
Lord, that's crazy.
Yeah, and then I'm the one that has to break that news to the owner, like, so
right.
while I was there,
yikes,
you're probably gonna need to do something about this.
Yeah,
because that's gonna end real bad.
Yeah,
that shower's gonna come through the floor.
Oh.
Soon.
Yeah.
Like, soon. Yeah.
What about any, like, hair care, skin care? I mean, you're in the dirt and the sweat and the anything you use to keep up with it?
Drywall dust is a real great substitute for dry shampoo, as it turns out. No, I don't like a lot of fuss.
Yeah.
And I can't stand to, like, I don't know what, I hate sweating. I hate it. Because it makes, I feel like a salamander. I feel slimy.
Yeah.
I don't like it. So, it is not OSHA approved. But, like, running shorts.
Oh, yeah. I'm
real picky on t-shirts. And I go through, like, I don't know, I think last warm season, we'll call it, like 6 pairs of tennis shoes.
Dang.
Because, I mean, you're hard on them, you're coming and going and doing all the things, and they just aren't going to last. I don't care how much you spend on them. Yeah. Like, a $20 pair is going to last the same as, like, an $80 pair.
Right.
Because they're going to get tore up.
Yeah.
I would love to have more, like, workwear. The problem is finding workwear that fits.
Yeah, for sure. It's a big deal.
So, I mean, like, my insulated bibs, they're probably close to 20 years old.
Dang.
And they've been through so many barns and a horse, but they are tried and true. But they're men's, you know? Yeah. So there's a lot of room.
Yeah, for sure.
You know? And it's so heavy. Like, it's almost like when you take roller skates off.
Yeah.
And you feel like you have to, like, your whole equilibrium shifts. That's taking those bibs off. But dang, they're warm, you know? But they're old, so they're heavy. Finding women's winter bibs that aren't, like, you can find them, but I don't trust paying a lot of money is going to mean that they're actually as good as my old ones, because a lot of times they're not. I will say my go-to, like, all season, because I love some overalls, man.
Yeah.
Because even in the summer, like, there's times where, like, it's so hot out, but you have to have pants on for whatever it is that you're doing. And I can just throw these on over my running shorts and Patagonia. Oh. And they're made from recycled hemp.
Really?
So they're more sustainable. They're about the same as, like, Carhartts.
Right.
They're, like, half the weight. So they're not super heavy.
Nice.
And because they're made of hemp, it actually has better wicking than cotton when it comes to not just even moisture, but heat.
Okay, yeah.
So, like, it wicks the heat away from you even. Dang. And they're durable. And because it's Patagonia, it's lifetime guaranteed. That's awesome. So, and it's better. Yeah. You know? More sustainable. Yeah. That it's part of how I got the nickname Bougie. Because everybody else is wearing Dickies and Carhartts, and I'm like, my Patagonia. Yeah. It's not like that. It's but because it's smarter. Yeah. Honestly. For sure. If I have to buy new ones and they're the same price. Yeah. They fit better. They work better. Y'all are sweating. Right. And I'm just fine. That's funny. Same thing with, like, boots. You know, I tend to be, like, terrier-minded. Like, I have no idea my size. Yeah. I also need a job or, like, something to do with my brain at all times. Even being able to do things from, like, a workwear perspective. Like, even their extra smalls are, like, I either have to take them in or... You know, and then it's like, why did I spend that much money? For sure. I could have bought kids' cargo pants. Yeah, right. It would have been the same thing. Yeah. And cheaper. For sure. Or if it is for women, it's pink. Yeah. It's always pink. And not that I have a problem with pink, but I don't want to wear it. Yeah, and especially not everything to be pink. Especially, like, the powdery pink, or it's either powdery pink or it's Barbie pink. Right, yeah. You give me, like, a dusty kind of, where it already looks a little better, then, you know, that dusty rose color, I can do that. Yeah. But, like, mostly because it already looks dingy. Right. Because powder pink. Yeah. We have red clay. Yeah, we do too in Oklahoma. That ain't gonna work. Yeah. And then the Barbie pink is just, that's just, look, if you can rock it. No. I'm impressed, because I can't. I can't. I also can't do, like, the high-vis yellow, green, whatever you want to call it. So do you have looks like I'm going through chemo treatments. Oh, I can't do it. Yeah. So you don't have to wear safety vests and all that stuff on the job site. Yeah. Yeah, which is part of why I like what I nice. Make my own schedule. I kind of do what I want. Yeah. I've always been very good at asking forgiveness. And admitting I don't know what I don't know. Yeah. So unless you tell me otherwise, I'm just going to run with it. Right. That's cool. Yeah. It's probably saved you some money too, doing it that way. But also, save me some money. It's also offered plenty of opportunities for humility.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But there too, I think, there's a reason why when we're being taught anything, like to sit and read it or hear someone say it, it's like, I forget the statistics exactly, but it's like it has to be repeated like 76 times or something like that. Whereas if you were to incorporate it into play,
hands-on
it's
kind of stuff,
like 3 to 5 times and you're pretty much an expert in it. Right. And so, just going and doing it and not being like, what if you mess it? You're probably gonna mess it up.
Yeah.
And you're probably gonna mess it up really hardcore, and it's gonna suck. And you might be out the money, right? Because now you've got to go buy new stuff. But like, you won't do that twice. Yeah. And you'll remember it next time there's something that's similar enough to be able to apply that same lesson.
Makes sense. Learn as you go. It's the only way to do it.
And a lot of times too, I feel like you meet the right people doing it that way too. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where makes sense. You don't really have time to make assumptions, right. Or it's the person that's like, hey, so you did that really wrong. You know, those are the people that you want, not the people that are being like, nasty about it or whatever, but the ones that are going to kind of pull you aside and be like, hey, let me help you. Right. Like, those are your people. For sure. Those are the kind of people you want around you. Yeah. The ones that'll, lend you a ratchet strap. That's how I became besties with my installation guy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
Ratchet straps were in the other truck, and I was like, son of a, what am I? He's like, I got a ratchet strap. I was like, you realize this makes us best friends, right?
Nice. All right. Well, do you have anything else you want to add?
I think it's so cool to see organizations like, Women in Construction. Yeah. Like I said, I mean, I didn't know there was anybody else out there. I knew, but yeah. It's like, gazelles exist, but you don't actually see them. I think it's so awesome, too, how it's not just, women doing similar things. It's also very much that similar blue-collar mindset. It's the same type of, I've always been one of the guys. Right. We were going over to my buddy's dairy barn and hanging out in his shop. Yeah. And they were like, it's a no girls allowed. It's a no girlfriend space, no girls allowed. And I'm like, well, but y'all get mad when I don't show up. And they're like, you don't count. It's just because you need my tractor. There's a lot of I've worked in corporate. Yeah. I've done a lot of things. And you can have people that do the same thing, but they're not the same mindset, right. Yeah. And so you have to be very strategic about the way that you interact, and true. It's just so cool to meet other women and you're like, we could actually be friends, legit. I'm not just saying that. I actually like you. We could get along, right. Exchange stories or tips or whatever, hey, I need help on this, whatever it is, because I can't I'm only one person and I can't demo an entire thing, and be able to reach out to another woman and know that it's gonna be cool, sure. It'll be fun, the job will get done probably better, and it's not gonna be so much of the catty, right? Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It would be super cool to start, seeing more the younger generations. There are Like, my oldest goes to a school that's very heavy on ag, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
Absolutely.
But there's so many girls out there that, like, they don't even know that it's an option. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Everything's an option.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of why the podcast became a thing, because there are a lot of girls who, if they don't have someone behind them being like, yeah, do whatever you want to do with your life, they're just going to go in, the same direction everyone else goes in.
Right. And, I mean, I think there's a lot of that is in the schools where it's like, these are your steps,
Right.
And so everybody kind of sees it in a, very linear step thing. My brain works. I can't do the step thing. I'm like a spider web. Mm-hmm. So the schools are like that. And then the parents are just kind of, they did those things, right? Like, they went to school, and then they went to college, and then they got the job, and they married, and they have 2.5 kids or whatever it is, and a picket fence and a golden retriever. And you're like... Did you want that, though?
Yeah.
Like, does that work for you?
Yeah.
Because it seems like a lot. You know what I mean? And girls are like, well, what are their options? I think a better question is, what aren't?
Yeah.
Like, what aren't options? Mm-hmm. As the parent of a small child who has been told, like, the world is your oyster, I will warn that will bite you from time to time. But I don't know, I just feel like there's not much bad that comes from that. Like, moving forward as a society, even for our kids to actually be able to...
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited about where it's going.
Things.
Yeah.
There's two ways you can go about it. Mm-hmm. It'll either discourage you and you'll second guess everything.
Right.
Which is going to compile on what you're already in the back of your mind probably thinking already, or you can let it empower you.
Yeah. I love that.
Like, it's fuel either way. It can either drive you or burn it to the ground.
Right. Yeah. That's a good point.
You choose, right? Like, I have imposter syndrome all the time. Yeah. Today I was like, I could bail, right? I should probably, finally a couple of my buddies were like, well, I would be so pissed at you. But,
yeah.
Like I said, everything is, you can learn something from everything.
Absolutely.
Everything is fuel.
Yeah.
And you can let it drive you or burn it down.
I love that.
Some days you'll want to burn it down.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's funny.
It's a wild ride, man.
Yeah.
Winging it.
Love it.
All the time. Mm-hmm. People are like, what is your plan for two? I don't know. We'll see.
See where we are.
Surprise to me too.
That's funny.
We'll see. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for coming. I'm glad you made it.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. All the links and products we mentioned today will be listed in the description. If you're a woman in a blue-collar industry and you're interested in being the focus of the next episode, or you're a small business that would like to sponsor an episode, reach out to us in the link below.